eventually.
Yeah, step into the cage, let's go. It's the Maniacs, you ready for the show? Can't catch a loaded Joe B in the place. Bringing heat to the mic, we're winning this race. Yeah, from the octagon fire to the studio mics. Tune in weekly, we're dropping the spikes. Analyzing every punch, every kick that lands. Maniacs in the game, playing with fans' demands. Ken's got the insight, Joe's got the flair. Mapping out the fights, we'll take you anywhere. So grab your popcorn, buckle up tight.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
What's up, guys? Back again, MMAniacs Podcast, joined as always by Bare Knuckle Ken. What's up, buddy?
What's up there, guy?
Oh, man. Just had a scare on Monday during jiu-jitsu. We were doing some stand-up techniques like takedowns and stuff, and I was training with my main training partner, that
Wrestler there.
the wrestler, you know. And so he picked me up for this. We were doing this takedown, like where you arm drag into taking their back, and then you pick them up, and when you take them down, you end up taking their back, right? And like my head smacked into like his stomach or his chest, I don't know what, but it pushed my head forward, and I got like a whiplash, kind of like my neck popped.
Ooh.
And yeah, dude, it was scary as fuck. Like, so the first thing I did, I'm like, oh, my neck popped. So he let me go, and then I'm laying on the ground, and I'm like, first thing is start moving my hands, moving my feet to make sure I'm like, okay, I can move. Like, I'm not paralyzed. That's good.
That's a huge bonus.
But you know, I was thinking, fuck, dude, same neck injury. Here we go, another 5 months.
That's what I was just
training
about to
pain.
say. Didn't you just injure it not too long ago?
Well, I just got over it in a few months ago, and but you know, my professor was like, just I for the next 48 hours, ice it, dude, ice it. And so I went and bought one of those cold packs, and I just started icing it like 4 times a day, dude. And I was able to go train today. Like, I mean, not spar, but I was able to go do techniques.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take it real easy with my neck, but I was able to go train today. And so, you know, crisis averted, but man, that was a scary moment.
Yeah, I was going to say neck injuries are
Especially,
definitely nothing to play around with.
yeah, especially because, dude, I'm like 7 months from my blue belt. Like, you know, like it's finally almost here, like 6, 7 more months, and I'm gonna be there, you know, and not even 7 months. So I'm like, yeah, dude, the last thing I need is to be injured for the next 3 months and can't train or can't, you know, like this is the home stretch where I'm trying to push and make sure I get this belt, you know, because that's gonna be, man, that's gonna be an awesome day, dude, when I finally get my blue belt. I know a lot of guys are like, you know, they're like that. They really, you know, they can't wait to get their blue belt, and then once they get their blue belt, they're like, fuck, I wish I could be a white belt again, because blue belt is a whole nother world. It's like the upper belt stopped taking it easy on you now, you know, like, it's like
yeah,
you
you
thought
have
it was
some
hard
idea
before.
what you're really doing.
Yeah, now they're just like killing you, dude. So, you know, a lot of the blue belts, when I'm like, yeah, dude, you know, I'm almost there, I can't wait to get my blue belt, they're like, they laugh, you know, they're like, bro, you trust me, it's not all it's cracked up to be, dude. Like, you know, blue belt is like, that's where the work really gets hard, you know. But I mean, the work I've already put in, like, you know, I don't know. For me, getting that blue belt's going to be awesome. I realize that it's just the first step on a long journey, but you know, it's an accomplishment.
I was going to say, you still got to make that first step.
Yeah, dude. And how many people get a blue belt from a one of the Carlson Gracie's original 100 black belts, you know, like the lineage itself. My professor doesn't just hand out blue belts, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not Gracie Barra where you can, or like, you know, it's not Gracie combatives where you can just like send in for a DVD course and in 6 months you're a blue belt, you know, like send a video of you doing some techniques and all of a sudden you're a blue belt. Like, no, dude, like with my professor, you're going to Go ahead.
That brings up a hell of an interesting point because of me having to drive out to Rochester there for the old lady's father's heart surgery. I was listening to Rogan on the way up and back, and I forgot who the guest was, but they were talking about that with the implementation of AI, it's now going to be to where you can pretty much get world class training in jujitsu for anybody now. It's no longer that you have the barrier in in the very near future. Let me phrase this, but that it's no longer going to be object of money that's getting in the way, or having to know a world class jujitsu instructor. That you're going to be seeing guys that are trained off of AI. What's your take on all that?
I mean,
What's up?
AI is smart, right? But AI doesn't have the years of experience on the mats, the little technical nuances that that make up the little the little nuances of a technique that make it work more effectively. You can go to the library and get a jujitsu book and you can learn techniques. You know what I mean? But if you don't know the little things, the little nuances that make that technique work or make that technique more effective, you can learn, but you're not going to be good at jujitsu. And so I don't think AI will ever fully replace the human component of a guy who spent 10 years on the mats in Copacabana at Carlson Gracie's original Copacabana Academy. Like the level, because jujitsu isn't just about techniques, it's about grit, it's about toughness, it's about
That-
tough.
Yeah,
So
that's the part that I think that you're going to be missing with it. But as for like the small techniques that change pretty much how, or the small movements in your technique that pretty much change how effective it's going to be, that it's not just like learning off of a book, to where the AI is also fed countless videos of these top jujitsu experts and seeing it in practice. Apparently, that Mark Zuckerberg, that's part of what he's using. Granted, he has a real jujitsu coach too, but that it has massively improved his game. Do you think we'll see a fighter that's ever trained from that, or is that a step too far?
I mean, I don't want to get into futuristic predictions about it because you could see it. Is that fighter going to be successful? I don't know, man. For me, and this is another thing, is that I'm not capable in this particular instance of being unbiased because I'm extremely loyal to the Carlson Gracie brand, to the Carlson Gracie legacy. I don't think you can get that through AI. I don't think that you can get that through a DVD. I don't think you can just pop a DVD into a player and learn what Carlson Gracie Jiu-Jitsu really is. It's something that you only get it with a forearm being smashed into your face, and you only get it by being mother's milked until you feel like you're drowning. Like, having somebody put just incredible top pressure on you to where it feels like your head is going to pop off. Like, it's something that you can only get on the mats. And so, I like I said, I definitely see a world where people are going to, like I can just ask Google to show me techniques and I can learn jujitsu from home. Like, people are generally, again, this is just a generalization, but people are generally lazy. And so, like, they want the convenience, right? Like, they don't want to have to get up and go to the gym every day. Like, if I could do it in my living room, then hey, I'm learning BJJ in my living room, right? But It's
Yeah, unless you have a partner with it, because that's one thing that I left out as I was describing it here, is that he's rolling with another roughly same level of experience jujitsu as him, but he's got multiple different camera angles feeding into the AI to where it's correcting some of his misplaced technique.
yeah. I mean, so yeah, in that aspect, AI can definitely improve little facets of your game, right? But here's the problem. If you're only rolling with a guy that's your same skill level, you're only going to improve at the rate that he improves, really. Like
Okay.
it's
Yeah, I'm pretty sure from what I gathered from the conversation is that his relative skill level, his training partner, but I don't know for 100% fact. Just wanted to put that out there.
yeah, no, you to train to get better, it's so there's different schools of thought, obviously. Like some guys will say if you want to get better you need to train only with people who are better than you, right? I think that you should train more with people who are better than you. That's my personal opinion. But I've also had black belt instructors tell me, no, if you want to get better you need to train with people who are worse than you, because then that's how you actually get to work your techniques and work your offense and stuff. Like getting, what working with somebody who's a lot better than you will do is sharpen your defense for sure, because you're going to always be on the defensive. But if you actually want to work offense, you need to. So I'm more of a fan of. I think you should train a mix of training partners. I think what I do is I usually spar a majority of upper belts. People that are better than me, because it sharpens your defense, it sharpens your guard. You learn some of their veteran crafty tricks, and then when I want to work on my offense, I work with guys who are not as far along as me. I go work with a one stripe white belt, and that's a whole nother thing too, because white belts are generally spazzy and go balls to the wall. It's like it's the ultimate bad combination of you don't know what you're doing, but you're doing it 150%. Like it's a death match, dude. So there's a place for that, like that survival instinct kicks in, and it's a good way to test your composure, because this guy's going to be going balls to the wall. Can you avoid going balls to the wall with him? Can you avoid it letting him drag you into that fight or flight mode? And can you stay composed when this guy is just relentlessly attacking with no skill? So it's I advocate for training with both, and you're not going to be able to do that with AI. Like, AI cannot simulate somebody who's horrible at jujitsu but is going balls to the wall. AI can give you technique, like high level advice on technique for sure, but that's why I think that it can't replace the human element, because when my professor is demonstrating a technique, there's little things that only his experience on the mats has taught him. Like he'll teach you the technique, but he'll also say, look, in my experience, like people aren't going to react this same way every time, right? So let me show you the different variations of, if this guy reacts this way, well then you can do this, but if this guy reacts this way, then you can do this. Like the thing about jiu-jitsu is it's constantly evolving, and it's constantly it's all based off of response, of movement and response. Like it's a chess match. You make a move, then I make a move. And then when you get good, it's like I can start to anticipate your move, and I can start to plan my moves ahead. Like. So I don't think AI can, long story long, I don't think AI can ever really replace the human element, the human component of experience and what works and what doesn't, because of trial and error. My professor had to make all those mistakes to find out, and AI is not going to make those mistakes, unless you get, if you get world-class instructors that instruct the AI, then
From what I'm gathering, is it's going to take pretty much every bit of footage that's out there between UFC, these BJJ tournaments that are actually recorded and uploaded, and it's going to compile all of that. That is, it's not just going to be like coming just from a couple of sources here.
Well, that's interesting. You know, I won't personally be taking part in it, but you know, I'm more of a purist. I'm more of an old school Carlson Gracie guy. Like, I'd rather learn from my professor who has, you know, 40 years in the game. You know, like it's to me, I value his experience and his, you know, like he's already made the mistakes to, you know, to be able to tell you like this works, this doesn't work, you know. If you adjust this just a little bit, if you adjust it this way, it's going to be more effective, you know. So, and my professor competed at the Brazilian Nationals, you know, like he actually at blue belt he took second place in the Brazilian Nationals, like, and he would have, you know, he only lost the final match and he lost it like right at the end, like, you know, that was the difference. We're talking about, Ken brought up an interesting point that he had heard on Rogan about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and how AI is going to influence BJJ, like that it's going to basically take all the available information, like sparring footage, tournament footage, and it's going to, you know, it could basically, people could use it for instruction in BJJ. And I said, you know, I personally am not going to take that, you know, like, one cool thing though is I can talk to my Google AI about jiu-jitsu, and it understands enough about it that, like, you know, if I'm talking about like, oh man, I had a roll today, you know, like I was in lasso and then this and that, it's like next time you're in lasso, you know, blah blah blah, and it can tell you what you should do.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, it can tell you what you should do next. You know, but yeah, I'd rather take my professor's word for it and trust his experience. You know, I don't think that you can replicate that with a machine. The trial and error experience, like I said.
See, what
I don't know.
think
What's LOL, Arnie? Like, are you not a fan of jiu-jitsu or what? Or are you laughing at the fact of like AI instructing people in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, but to kind of circle back to your point about that, it doesn't help breed the toughness and endurance that a regular jiu-jitsu class would. I think that is more of like the major like ringing alarm bell of the difference between it. Because I think technique wise, I think AI eventually is going to be on par with a lot of these world-class instructors. Now, granted, you might have a couple for a while that are still doing better, but these Saints have almost unlimited brain power. But my thing is they're not going to be able to tap into the emotion of it, and that is such a key integral part.
It's not just the emotion. It's jiu-jitsu is all about feel, right? Yeah, exactly. This is, and I think Arnie is saying what I'm saying. Like, jiu-jitsu is about feel more than anything else. I can tell you how a technique is supposed to work. I can show you how it's supposed to work. But until you actually get a gi on and have somebody trying to resist you, and you figure out that point of leverage and balance to where that sweep actually works, all you know is what a technique is supposed to look like. You don't know how it actually works, right? You can only gain that knowledge through the actual experience of rolling, you know. Like, I can, like, for example, if I had a partner here, I could demonstrate a scissor sweep to you, right? And you're going to say, oh, that looks cool, I could do that. But then if you were to put a gi on, I promise you, if somebody was resisting, you are not scissor sweeping them, dude. Like I am 2 years in, and I still cannot consistently hit a scissor sweep in
Oh,
sparring. Like, you
oh,
know,
you want a good laugh? The first time I ever freaking did one, I'm sitting there and I put my freaking leg up so freaking high that it was damn near in his armpit over here and almost like mid freaking thigh with it.
it's not a bad thing. You do want your knee high, so that you can because it's the push pull, right? It's the pull on
Mm-hmm.
the collar and the push with the knee, and then it's the pull with the arm, and it's the scissor action with the foot, with the hook. There's a lot that goes into it, and you have to off balance them enough. If somebody has a good base, yeah, exactly. You have to do it. It's you can watch the technique being done. It doesn't mean you can do it. Like, and you can do
Yeah.
it on somebody who's not resisting. Like, that's the thing with AI for me is like it can show you how the technique is supposed to be done, right? It can demonstrate it for you, but some guy who he might be able to do all the techniques that a blue belt should know on somebody who's not resisting. Does that make him a blue belt?
I was gonna say you got a major point there. Well,
Some
I
people
think.
will say yes. Some people will say, well, if he can do all the techniques, then he's a blue belt. But
Well,
I would
can he do
say,
it effectively? Is the thing.
can he do it when somebody's not going along with it? That's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. To me, blue belt is about knowing how. Yeah, it's about knowing how when somebody's resisting, how to off balance them, how to break their posture, how to use hooks, how to use how to use your legs as well as your arms to break posture, right? Like, there's a lot to breaking somebody's base and posture for to be able to sweep them. It's not just as simple as, oh, I just do the technique. It's like, no, dude. But
What got me a lot because I had a lot of the technique that I had known was stuff that I had picked up just absorbing it before I went and took any classes there. Is that the how important hip movement was in the explosion of your hips during a lot of transitions, especially when you're on the bottom and mount there. That's what got me is it looked almost just like effortless that you just move a little bit and you just drag them whichever way you want. And I realized no, you got to actually explode through that some bitch.
mhm. Yeah, it's there are just certain things that you can only learn through feel, dude. Like I said, it's jujitsu is a lot about feel. Um, like just when you look at AI, how just best skill of jujitsu, and you watch and you first time practice with like a blue belt. Yeah, exactly. You're not gonna just watch AI do a technique and then go be able to hit that technique on a blue belt or even
Mhm.
a striped white belt. Like so. It's an
No,
interesting topic for discussion. It's an interesting possibility. Um,
now
you
I
know,
think it would be more served with us sitting here talking about it like this is more of like a companion type of thing. Instead of it being that it's your instructor, is it's there to give you extra nuances that maybe for whatever reason your instructor overlooked, and or it can give you a little bit of a leg up when you're first starting out in it, that hey, the knowledge is in there, I just now got to learn how to execute that knowledge.
yeah. I mean, the more you put into AI, the more it learns, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, if you get world class instructors to put their nuance into it, then it will have that knowledge, right? But you can't replicate muscle memory. Practice makes perfect, and that's a perfect way to put it, Arnie. Practice makes perfect. You can't replicate muscle memory. You can watch something done 100 times, but the only way you're going to learn to do it is by doing it 100 times, a
Mm-hmm.
thousand times. Like so. Yeah, it's an interesting topic for discussion. I don't know the future, so I do think that once it's available, there will be a lot of people using it because they don't want to get up and go go roll in a gym with higher belts and get crushed and spend 2 years getting their ass kicked to get a blue belt or longer. Like I said, people want the convenience of right now, right?
And I think a lot of it too is people kind of having the Matrix mindset with it, that you're almost just going to be automatically going to be able to download the full knowledge and all the intricacies with it.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I was literally just thinking, like, when they plug him in and he's like, I know Kung Fu. It's like, no, dude, like, it doesn't work that way with jujitsu, dude. Like, it doesn't work that way. I wish it did. Believe me, I wish I learned techniques through osmosis, but no, it's a lot of painful hours on the mat. It's a lot of.
I wonder if you combined AI with Elon Musk's Neuralink there. Now, granted, there's speculation here, and we're still making a little bit of a leap, but you think with that to where it would almost know how to fire your nerves
to make your body react in the way it needs to.
Yeah.
Now you're getting into universal soldier type shit, right? Like, and I don't think you're far off. Like, I think the number one, before it ever sees a civilian application, it will see a military application. First of all. And I think they're probably already working on that. Like, I would imagine the moment that Neuralink is fully functional and operational and without bugs, like they'll be looking for a way to do that in the military application first. I definitely think that, but it'll be a while before it makes it to the civilian application, to the civilian market. But yeah, exactly. You get into that flow state where you don't have to consciously think about what you're doing, but that takes a long time. And with jujitsu, I will say this: jujitsu, you can get into that flow state, but you always still have to think. Jujitsu is a thinking man's game, and that's why white belts are so terrible at it, is because they think it's no, really. They come in thinking that
no. I'm agreeing with you. The smile was that I had the image of like a freaking Foamy the Squirrel type of shit stuck in my head. Where it's just all energy with nothing else to go on. Yeah.
Well, it's because white belts come in thinking that jujitsu is about athleticism, and there's a degree of athleticism to it. Like, obviously, if you have a guy who's athletic and has good technique versus a guy who's not athletic and has good technique, the athletic guy is going to win, right? But jiu-jitsu is not about athleticism. There are guys that are not super athletic that are purple belts that beat the shit out of D1 wrestlers that are white belts, And I'm not talking about in my gym specifically. I'm talking about everywhere, dude. Like, jiu-jitsu is made to overcome strength advantage, athletic advantage, right? Like athleticism advantage. It's made through leverage and things like that. So I'm saying universal, like Van Damme, like the movie Jean-Claude Van Damme, like Neuralink. Ken brought up an interesting point about that, and I don't think it's far off. I think that if there is a military application to be had, they will eventually work it out.
I think Fred was making a Dragon Ball reference there.
No, Jocko is a famous black belt.
Okay.
Jocko's like he's a funny dude. He's a character in the BJJ world, but he's also a tough son of a bitch. Like, give it to Jocko. Like, he's legit black belt, and he will fuck you up. He's a character, but a lot of BJJ instructors are characters, man. They have quirks, personality quirks that make them stand out, that are different. Carlson Gracie himself was a character, you know what I mean? Junior has I wouldn't say he's a character. Um, he's a lot like his dad, but he's very serious. But he's also like, he can laugh. He's like he has a sense of humor, but he's very serious. Um, you know, a lot of the time. But he can joke around too. That's what's cool. Is like, when we were doing a seminar with him, it's like he'll make jokes in the middle of class, and it's cool. Like, so you're like, oh, he is a human being. He's not just a jujitsu cyborg. You know what I mean? Like he's yeah. Anyway, no, Bruce studied Wing Chun with Ip Man, and then Bruce branched out because he decided that Kung Fu was too limiting. That to limit yourself to one style is not.
Yeah, I finished.
So he invented Jeet Kune Do. He adapted the style called Jeet Kune Do, which used elements of Wing Chun, but it also used elements of kickboxing, boxing, wrestling. But Jeet Kune Do, while Jeet Kune Do is it's an interesting style, it's not very effective in real life unless you're a high level practitioner. It's not like you're going to go in there and learn Jeet Kune Do for 6 months and be able to like kick somebody's ass, but a guy who's been doing Jeet Kune Do for 10 years, he might be able to fuck you up, like, because he understands the philosophy behind it and he's practiced the techniques enough. But if you look at in real fight situations, for example, in the UFC, how many Jeet Kune Do fighters do you see?
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
There was one, Ben Saunders, but he never won a title. He was like a middle of the pack, middle of the road fighter, right? Kevin Holland is a kung fu fighter, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a kung fu specialist, but he also has he trains everything because you have to. But he's a kung fu guy. He's middle of the pack.
Now, how I've heard Bruce Lee's fighting style there referred to as it was almost the precursor for MMA.
Yes, somewhat. He used leg kicks. There's elements of kickboxing. It could be, but it didn't have jujitsu in it, and a major part of MMA is jujitsu now. BJJ has become like you can go do MMA and not have a jujitsu base, but the second you run into a jujitsu fighter, unless you're an elite level wrestler, you're gonna get fucked up. Like if it goes to the ground, you're gonna get fucked up. Like you can be a high level striker, but even most high level strikers nowadays. Look at Ilia Topuria, for example. He's a extremely high level striker, like the highest of the high, right? But he's also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
That's what I was going to say there. That's what I'm a little more used to, because until we started doing the show again, I had fallen out of watching UFC as much as I did. Is that I was more used to, instead of the blended styles that we have now that take from like 3-4 different martial arts styles, I was used to seeing the fighters of just 2 different disciplines. Like you'd have a boxer and wrestler, kickboxer and jiu-jitsu, that type of thing.
Yeah. And you still get that somewhat these days because there are guys who are specialists, but the days of specialists are kind of on their way out, like in order to be high level in mixed martial arts now, you have to be well versed in mixed martial arts. You have to be, you have to have, you don't have to be elite at everything. You have to be elite at 1 or 2 things, and then serviceable in the others, So if you're an elite wrestler, you got to have at least serviceable striking and at least, serviceable jiu-jitsu. Now, if you're an elite wrestler and an elite jiu-jitsu guy, then but your striking is garbage, you're going to have some success, right? Like you can even win titles. Look at Islam Makhachev, for example. He's not what I would call a world-class striker, you know?
Yeah, but
He's a better striker than Habib, but
That's
he's not.
yeah. I was gonna say
He's not world class by any means.
Yeah, he's not terrible, but yeah, I don't think he could make the transition into boxing.
But he's elite. He's elite at jiu-jitsu, sambo. Like he's elite grappler, right? Like he's elite in several areas, and he's serviceable in, you know, at least serviceable. And when I say serviceable, what I mean is, you know, better than average in you know, better than the average guy that walks in the gym, you know, like he's better than that, but he's not what I would call a high level or world class striker. Now, Ilia Topuria is a high level world class striker, right? Mm-hmm. But he's also a black belt in BJJ, but not all black belts are made the same. And we haven't really seen Ilia tested on the ground. Like, you know, I know that Ilia knocked Charles out, right, because of his striking. But if that fight was to go to the ground and become a jiu-jitsu match, who are you taking?
Unfortunately, I got to give the advantage to Oliveira with that. But like you said, we have the mystery box with Ilia. You don't necessarily know. Now, granted, I don't think he's going to be Charles Oliveira level proficient. But if he's proficient enough just to be able to get back to his feet, that's kind of all that matters.
Yeah. Or to sweep or submit a lower level guy, right? Like that's all that matters, because jiu-jitsu is not his bread and butter, right? But with Charles, like I'm glad you acknowledged that, you know, you'd have to give Charles the advantage, because I think Charles in a jiu-jitsu, straight up jiu-jitsu match, I think Charles would wipe the floor with him, dude. Like Charles is an And I'm not. That's not a knock on Ilia, because Ilia is a black belt, right? Like Ilia will fuck me up for sure. Like, you know, I'm not sitting here like, oh, I could kick Ilia's ass in a jiu-jitsu match. Like, no, I couldn't.
But Charles also has the absolute most finishes in UFC history, and a shit ton of them are submissions.
And that's the point that I'm trying to make, is that there's levels to this shit. And in order to be successful in MMA, you have to be on that higher level in at least one or two things, right? To be a top contender, and then to be a champion, you got to be really good in everything, but elite in something. You know, it's like, look at Dustin Poirier, for example. You know, Dustin was really good at everything, but elite at nothing, right? Like he wasn't the best boxer, he wasn't the best kickboxer. He was better than average. He was a really good boxer, but his jiu-jitsu, he's a black belt, but his jiu-jitsu was never so serious that it was like it threatened serious, you know, like jiu-jitsu specialists, you know, like he wasn't going to beat Charles on the ground, right? Like, so that's why he never really won the undisputed championship, because he would always end up against an elite grappler, and he's not an elite grappler. He never got to fight a striker that was worse than him or on par with him for the belt, right? So that's my thing is there's levels to this shit, and you gotta be high level in something. You gotta be elite in something to compete at that level. Then there's guys who are just, you know, hobbyists. Like, you know, I'm not training to compete. Like, there's no ADCCs or Mundials in my future, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 43 years old. I'm not going to win the Master 3 division for, you know, in the World Championships, because there's probably some fucking TRT'd up, fucking jacked up animals, you know what I mean? Like, who actually have skills. Like, I'll get wiped. You know, I mean, I might be able to like get on the podium at a local tournament, you know, maybe. There's no guarantees there, you know, because they don't drug test. So you're still like, I might run into some 43-year-old TRT monster, dude. Like, you know, who knows? But before we end the show, like we have 20 minutes left. The White House card is in 2 weeks, dude. I wanted to get into like some breakdowns of the White House card, because this is one of the most anticipated cards in a long time. I hope it lives up to the hype, but let's get into some of the fights, man. And let's break them down. Like, what fight are you most looking forward to? We'll start with that.
Come on.
Really?
Oh,
I know
of course.
you, but you're like, that's the fight you're most looking forward to?
Absolutely, just because I want to see, this Ronda Rousey type of fight where it lasts 17 seconds, but we're gonna see it to where an actual real fight took place.
Dude, I don't want to see a Ronda Rousey 17-second fight, bro.
I was being a little over dramatic with that, but you're getting my point with that. I don't expect that fight to go out of the first round.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm not really looking forward that much to that fight. Like, I
think that's going to be fireworks straight from the opening bell.
It's going to be fireworks for sure, but I just don't have any faith that Gaethje is going to win.
Neither do I.
So I like fights where it's like you can at least make a case that the other guy could win, like I'm struggling with that.
If we're going with that, I got to go with Hokit and Derek Lewis. I want to see if Hokit can take those freaking sledgehammer fists.
Newsflash, he cannot. Like, I'm not saying Derek Lewis is going to win the fight. I'm saying Hokit better get on his fucking bike. Because there is not a human being alive that can stand up to that Derek Lewis. Like, if Derek Lewis connects on you, dude, flush, you're going to sleep, dude. And he doesn't even have to connect full power. Like, did you see the uppercut that he knocked Curtis Razor Blades out with? It was just a short little, he didn't even like, it wasn't like some sure you can, like, it was just a short little, yeah. And that was it, right on the chin. And it was like, good night, Curtis. Like, so that's my thing is I'm looking forward to that fight, really, because we're going to find out if Hokit really has it. Derek Lewis is over. He's past his prime by, he can't even see his prime in the rear view right now. Like, he's still good enough to in a very weak heavyweight division to be a contender, a top 10 guy, but he's lost quite a few in a row because guys have figured out all I have to do is stay away from him for the first round and he'll gas out and then I can take him out, So I expect Hokit to get on his bike for the whole first round and then he'll come in for the kill. And I expect Hokit to win. But we'll see, man. I hope.
See, that's the sound strategy, and it's real nice to stay on your bicycle and just box the guy. But this is the White House card. Hokit's fight got added in pretty much at the last minute at the request of Trump.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to tell me that you don't think Hokit's the type of guy that's going to want to put on a show?
No, he'll put on a show in the second round, or he should get on his bike for the first round. But Hokit seems to me like the kind of guy that's just a little bit retarded, and so like I think he's really going to come out and try to play Rock'em Sock'em Robots with Derek Lewis in the first round.
That's kind of what I'm trying to say.
And that's why I think, like, to me, that fight is interesting because he's going to go into Derek Lewis's wheelhouse and try to beat him there when he doesn't have to. Like, people will forgive a bad round, a bad fight, but a bad round, like if you stay away from Derek Lewis for the first round, but then in the second, third round, you come out and just put it on him and you put him away, like, people are going to say, okay, it was strategy. Like, he waited for Derek to gas out. That's smart. It's a smart play, right? And you still get the knockout. You still get the finish, you still get to shine, right? But he strikes me as the kind of guy who talks so much shit that he backs himself into a corner where it's like, well, man, now I can't run for that first round. I'm going to have to come out and play Rock'em Sock'em Robots. And I don't think that's going to end well, dude. Like, bro, you better have your fucking head on a swivel, dog. Like, you know what I mean? You better be ready to fucking bob and weave like you're a fucking welterweight. Like and I mean a welterweight boxer. Like you better become Shakur Stevenson out there, dude. Like, because if not, you're gonna get knocked out, and you're gonna get knocked out ugly. And right now, Hokit can't afford that. Like to get just completely flattened by Derek Lewis is going to kill any bit of hype that Curtis Blades fight.
Yeah. Yeah, that fight definitely created a lot of buzz, but like you're saying, you get knocked out, especially in the first round at the White House card that you're going to have the most eyeballs on you. That's going to almost completely reverse that train.
I think it does completely reverse it. I think it makes people think immediately like Hokit's not as good as he showed himself to be, like in that other fight. Like, you know, Andy's stupid for trying to play Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Like, you know, it seems to me like Hokit is a pretty decent wrestler too. Like he can get a guy down. It seems to me like he's trying to do the CTE speed run. No, really, like he makes the fight a lot harder than it has to be so that he can be entertaining, because he's smart. And look, this is why I said he's a little bit retarded, right? Like he's smart in one way because he realizes how money is made in MMA. It's entertaining the fans. Like you can lose 10 fights in a row, but if they're competitive, entertaining fights, like the UFC will keep you on the roster. But you lose 2 boring fights in a row, you get cut. So he's like, okay, I'll do the CTE speed run and play Rock'em Sock'em Robots with the heaviest hitters in the division. And if I lose, people are still going to want to watch me fight because I went out on my shield, right? But he's got the capability. Hokit actually is a better wrestler than that. He could actually he could actually win a lot with his wrestling, but he's not going to try that. He's already kind of, the die has been cast. But another fight I'm looking forward to on that card is Hoofy and Chandler, because that fight, man. See, Chandler is another one of those guys. He's exactly what I'm talking about. Last time Chandler won a fight in the UFC, I think it was Tony Ferguson. I think that was Chandler's last win, was when he knocked out Tony Ferguson.
Yep, that was in 22.
He hasn't won in 4 years, and yet he's still on the card, still gets fights. Why? Because he's entertaining. Because he's going to come out for the first 5 to 8 minutes of that fight. He's going to put everything he has on the line, and you know what I mean? Then he's going to get beat. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. You know, they just announced that Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway fight for after the White House card. But
Yeah.
you know the other fight that they announced on that card that's going to be fucking awesome? Benoit Saint Denis versus Paddy Pimblett.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say I definitely like the sound of that.
That's going to be, bro. Paddy needs to hope that. First of all, I hope he's been working on his head movement, because Benoit Saint Denis he's a dangerous striker, like you know. And second, like, bro, you better get him down and strangle him. Paddy can't afford another loss. How's it going, man? So, yeah. What about the Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane fight? Are you looking forward to that one?
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it for a bit of 2 reasons. I want to see how Alex is going to do as a heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to see Alex hit him with one of those freaking baseball bat kicks to the head to get a little bit of vengeance for the eye gouging.
Is Alex going to throw that head kick? Because Gane is a very good kickboxer, right? This is going to be a high-level heavyweight kickboxing match. right? Don't make any mistake. There's not going to be any takedowns in this fight, I don't think. Unless Gon decided to go work on his wrestling since the John Jones fight, and he decides, like, you know what? The perfect strategy for me is to try to take Alex down. Like, unless that's his game plan, this is going to be a high-level kickboxing match. And normally that would favor Cyril Gahn, but Alex Pereira just happens to be a former world champion kickboxer with crazy power.
That's again why I referred to it as the baseball bat head kicks.
And bro, and the left hook, like it's going to be an interesting fight. One of the things
Okay, does Alex get out with both eyes?
That's what I was just going to get at, because they were interviewing Gon the other day, and they said, "Hey, so have you, when for in the training camp for this fight, have you like worked on keeping your fingers tucked when you punch or when you jab, so that you don't end up with the same eye gouge or eye poke problem?" And he was like, "No, man, it happens every fight. Like it's just something you can't really avoid." And it's like,
you can't really avoid
definitely
sticking your
avoid it,
fingers
bro.
in the guy and then pushing in once you realize you're in his eyeballs.
Like, no, bro, you can actually avoid it. You just have to tuck your fingers. But that told me everything I need to know. Like, Gon is gonna eye poke him. Like, that's his plan. So if I'm Pereira, I'm like, I might just fight like with my left hand up and then my right hand just like this, like Three Stooges, baby. It's like, somebody actually put this out there. I don't know if it would work, but it sounds like an interesting strategy. Somebody was saying that, and I forget who it was, or I would give them credit for it, but they were saying that with guys who keep their fingers out like this when they fight, that when they reach out to try to touch your hand to gauge range and stuff, Alex should hammer fist his fingers every time he does that. Like, just you have your hands up and just, it doesn't have to be like this. It's just
yeah. How many times have you jammed your finger on something and barely any force, and that some bitch hurt like hell?
That's what I'm saying. So it's an interesting strategy. If Alex decides, like, go hammer fist his fingers a little bit, like, bro, it could save your eyeballs and your career. Like, I don't know how it would be, but it's an interesting thought experiment, So we'll see what happens. So, right now we'll get into it more next week, because that'll be a week out from the fight. But right now, where is your gut leaning on that Alex versus Gon fight?
See, with the move to heavyweight, if this would have been Alex's second or third fight, I wouldn't take anything away from him there. But with this being his first fight in heavyweight there, that's where I kind of have a little bit of the possible issue, because Cyril Gahn has been there for freaking years. So this is this man's more natural fighting weight. Now, not saying that I don't think Alex can do it, but it's just we haven't seen it yet. But if you got to mark me down for one, I'm still taking it in Alex, because we've seen him do some freaking devastating things in that octagon.
And don't forget, even when Alex was fighting at 185, even I appreciate. I mean, if that's a compliment, I appreciate it. It's funny that you mentioned that, because on the other show we're on, they call me Timu Joe Rogan, which is hilarious. But
I was gonna say, shit, it's starting to sound like every opponent of Cyril Gahn's gonna have to do that.
But Alex, don't forget that even when Alex was fighting at 185, like even when he came in to fight Izzy, Alex walks around somewhere in the 225 to 235 range. So that, while it is his first fight at heavyweight, he normally walks around at heavyweight. So all that really means for him is he's not going to have to cut weight. So he could be even sharper than we've seen him, like not having to cut weight. Because I don't think he's looking to go put on 20 pounds and fight at 250. If I'm him, I'll stay at 225, 235, have a weight, he'll have a 30-pound weight advantage, but I'll have the speed advantage, and my power is. Think about this. I mean, and we don't know because we're not in Alex's body. We don't understand, But when Alex has to cut weight and then rehydrate, does that affect his power at all? Now you might say, well, absolutely not, because look, he's knocking everybody out. But my point is, what if it is affecting his power, but he still has the power to knock him out after cutting weight? Now imagine at heavyweight, he doesn't have to cut weight.
If that's the case, I have no qualms about him fighting at heavyweight and even slightly underweight for it compared to Cyril Gahn there. I'm not usually a big fan of giving too much weight up to your opponent there, but if he can get that power to be even more than what it was and still keep his speed, that sounds like a horrifying combination.
Yeah. And
this just occurred to me a bit, is that do you feel a little robbed by Cyril Gahn here, thinking that we should have been getting an Alex versus Aspinall? Yes, thank you.
No, because I think that's the next fight. I think if Alex wins, because this isn't for the undisputed championship, this is for the interim championship. Have
you heard anything about any update in his progress? Because the last I've heard, and granted this was a while ago, it's a major if he's even going to be able to fight again.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I haven't heard anything to say that he's done, but I haven't heard anything that he's coming back soon either. I have heard that he's had to have several surgeries.
Yeah, the last I heard, I think it's up to 3 or 4 eye surgeries that he's had now.
Yeah, that's never good, man. But if I'm Alex, I don't just want to box though. I want to use those leg kicks, because Cyril Gahn, as big as Cyril Gahn is, he moves really good for a heavyweight, as a kickboxer. He's got excellent footwork. His striking is his bread and butter. So I want to try to take away his mobility as soon as possible. Like, if I'm Alex, I come out leg kicking. I leg kick the shit out of him that whole first round so that he's forced to stand in front of me. And then, I pick him apart from there.
Yeah. How are you going to say that? Sounds like a hell of a freaking strategy.
Well, not just that, but if you throw enough leg and body kicks, eventually he's going to have to start ducking down on his side to get that, to block that body kick, or so you can go high with it, like you were talking about. That's how you set up that head kick with multiple body kicks.
And then back again to the weight difference there. You damage that leg where he's pretty much got to stand still. You can damn near run around him like the Tasmanian devil type of shit.
Yeah, I mean, 265 pounds is what they have to weigh in at, right? That doesn't mean that that Cyril Gahn is going to be 265 on fight night. He might be 285. Alex might be giving up 50 pounds on fight night, dude. But if anybody can do it, Alex can do it. We're out of time, though. It's already 12:59. We want to thank you guys for joining us. Join us next week. We're going to make our predictions for the White House card, and we'll get some feedback from you guys. Thank you guys. Ken, you got anything to say?
No, I'm ready to send her off. Join us next week.
Yeah, yo, it's game time. Ain't no messing around. Huddle Sports Network, the best in town. From NFL rumors to the latest trends, we got all your sports, just tune in, my friends. Catch us on Roku, Fire Stick, take your pick. Facebook, YouTube, where the action's slick. Daily shows that drop like a bomb. From 10 to 11, it's Ken and Ken, stay calm. Huddle up, catch the vibe, feel the rush. Get your news, get your fills in the clutch. Over 27 podcasts, we breaking it down. Join the team, Huddle Sports, wear the crown. Live every weekday, it's how we roll. Lions Talk with Jeremy B, we taking a stroll. From 11 to 12, don't miss a beat. We break down the game, make the info sweet. The Daily Huddle Podcast, noon to 1. CST Zone, we're just having fun. Toss your doubts, we bring the facts. Tune into the Huddle.